What's up, Buckeye Nation? Floco here once again. Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. How are you guys doing this morning? That's right, we're in the wee hours of the morning. In fact, I'm still having my morning coffee in my Batman mug. I appreciate you joining me. Guys, we're going to do a little something a little different we don't normally do on this channel. We're going to talk recruiting today because we are in the midst of a bye week for Ohio State and we have to have things to talk about. And why not recruiting? Let's get a little update on where we are with things. There's a couple things going on, a couple little rumblings out there. I've decided to talk about it today. But also, first and foremost, guys, if you want more recruiting videos, can you please comment yes or no? Um, we are not recruiting experts by any stretch of the imagination, but we have followed it for quite a while. We can put some things together here and there. And honestly, there's like patterns with recruiting that you see, throughout the years that you're just like, okay, here we go again type of thing. So go ahead and comment yes or no if you want to see us talk about recruiting more often. And we're going to start off with a 5-star defensive end that Ohio State really, 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 really wants, who was committed to Notre Dame at one time. He's from Florida. Tampa, Florida, I believe. Anyway, guys, is Keon Keely. Is he going to go Ohio State or is he going to go to Alabama? Right now, there seems to be the two schools. He went to Ohio State twice recently, so everything started looking good. Larry Johnson got involved heavily in his recruiting a couple months ago because I know he's technically been recruiting him for a while. Don't get me wrong, but really, really got heavily involved once he decommitted from Notre Dame because we didn't feel like we had a total chance with him until recently. Obviously, going to Ohio State twice, you know, publicly at least, makes us look like we have a big chance. But I am going to agree with my friend Zach Smith on this. For Menace to Sports, I definitely think he is all Bama. I hate to burst the bubble, but you know what's going to happen? When you visit Ohio State twice, and it's just not overwhelmingly like, wow, there's a huge amount of momentum towards Ohio State right now. When you don't hear that coming out of two visits, then you pretty much know that it's probably going to be Bama. Um, Here's what's going to happen though, leading up to his commitment date. We're going to hear a lot of wow. There's a quiet push for Ohio State that Ohio State really likes where they are right now because there's always going to be that drama. There always has to be that drama that that second team is making a huge push. It happens with every team because the kid wants some drama as he's about to announce, but we all kind of quietly know where he's going. So I'm definitely going for Bama on this one. I hate that because he looks like another Chase Young. I really would love him in Ohio State class. I'd love to be wrong about him, guys. I would love to be wrong about this guy. I'm just not seeing it right now. It stinks. I hate to even be the bearer of bad news on that one. And I hope you can come back in a few months' time and go, Corey, you are an idiot. I mean, there's probably going to be other reasons for you to do that, but at least you can come back for this purpose. Say, Corey, you are an idiot. He's all Buckeye. That would be awesome. I'd love to have an Ohio State class. But there's not much to be said there. Definitely think he's going to Bama. But there is some rumblings with Ohio State commitment wide receiver Carnell Tate. This is such an interesting one. I think he's the guy that Zach Smith. Everybody said he criticized because he just says his game. He has some work to do to be a great wide receiver. Didn't really criticize the kid at all, but he caught a lot of flack for that. I know Tennessee fans love Carnell Tate and they're pushing for him real hard right now. Um, yeah, he's visiting Tennessee, and here's the thing: is I wrote all these notes down, like saying, oh, maybe there's something to this, and then I get assured by one of my good friends who follows us pretty closely and has some, has some of his own connections. He says, "Nah, you know what I think it is? I think it really is just smoke, and he's just visiting some friends, and he actually likes the coaching staff at Tennessee." And so I mean, it's good news for Ohio State if that's true, but it kind of like, wow, it just took the air out of my balloon when it came to all my notes. But you know what? I'm going to make mountains out of molehills for you guys. Molehills for you guys. Molehills. What in the world? And I'm going to go ahead and create a scenario here where it could be a problem for Ohio State because I was looking into it a little bit for myself, then just logically speaking, right? Now, granted, when it comes to recruiting, there's tons of variables. There's obviously relationships. There's now NILs, throwing a monkey wrench into things. And I hate, from what I understand, Tennessee's willing to throw a ton of money at him. Be interesting to see because obviously rumored to be visiting Tennessee for the Alabama game this weekend. Ohio State's on a bye. first and foremost, let's just get it out of the way. If he's visiting Tennessee, that's not necessarily a red flag immediately. It's just you're going to go see a great game, right? Because Tennessee looks like they can actually challenge Alabama this year, unlike most years. Heupel's got that program on the upswing at the moment, kid. There's no denying that right now. And Tennessee has the history and the infrastructure in place to still be a great powerhouse program like they once were. They just haven't done it in years. They keep getting the wrong coach for whatever reason, but they might. I'll say I was wrong. I'm not a Heupel fan, being from Central Florida. I didn't think he was that great at UCF, but I might just be totally wrong, and he is the right guy for the job. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. They're doing a great job right now. Um, anyway, so obviously Ohio State's biggest threat is Tennessee, and it always has been. But let's compare the situations. Look at the wide receiver room at Ohio State. You say, well, yeah, it's been like that. He knew that or going into it. Well, of course he knew that going into it, right? Ohio State has 3 guys after this year that are probably going to be gone. And I say probably because you just don't know. Cam Babb, unfortunately, being one of them, it doesn't play. And I hate that. I'm not trying to rip on Cam Babb. I really wish I could see him play because I do think he would be a great player. It just injuries have just saddled his career. And the other one being obviously Xavier Johnson, another one who's a former walk on, plays a little wide receiver. Gets to play a little bit with us. He didn't play all that often, but when the rotation gets a little thin, he plays, and he also obviously, as we saw with the Michigan State game, he can throw in put him in the run game just a little bit because he's a former running back. And then of course you got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's figures to be gone after this year. After that, you got Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka are the guys next year, and Julian Fleming's establishing himself as that number 3, possibly with Harrison and Fleming on the outside with Emeka in the slot. It's just those are your 3 main guys last year. You should Jalen Ballard's actually showing some flashes here and there. They got guys really, really young wide receiver core beyond that of young talented guys, and not to mention coming in with him into the class and Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. A couple other another highly ranked guy, and then of course there's a couple other highly ranked guys as well. So, in fact, I think it's Brandon Ennis is actually a higher rated guy than Carnell Tate. So we got a really highly rated wide receiver class, as is per usual with as is per usual with Brian Hartline. It's just that it just doesn't create the most conducive situation to get on the field quickly here at Ohio State. I'm sorry, I need my coffee. It's really early in the morning. You have to excuse me for just a second. Anyway, you looked at Tennessee, they got 6 to 7 guys that are about ready to move on, potentially. Some of them are juniors and seniors. And their wide receiver class right now, their highest ranked wide receiver right now is the same ranking as our lowest ranked wide receiver right now at about 91 rating. So Carnell Tate would be the guy unquestionably at Tennessee's recruiting class for their wide receiver class. So I don't know. Now, granted, like I said, my friend comes to me and says, "That's probably nothing." And I'm thinking, well, there's a situation there. I could possibly understand where Carnell Tate would actually make the flip. Though, in Brian Hartline, we do trust. So that's just speculation. And I just wanted to give you the good news that I'm hearing up front. So to be a good host that way and not just basically just throw it out there and be like, oh, but by the way, I think he's staying. That would have been kind of funny for me, but annoying for you. I totally understand. But I just want to talk about it just a little bit. But there's also reports out there Ohio State's still recruiting a heavy hitter Georgia Dewitt that's committed to Bama right now. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. But look, it's a barren wasteland. I feel bad for actually recruiting writers right now. It's kind of a barren wasteland a little bit because I read this report and it was kind of like, yeah, no kidding. They're still recruiting. They're going to recruit these guys until the signing day. Obviously, you do. That's what you do as a coach at Ohio State. So anyway, first one is 4-star running back Justice Haynes from Georgia. Right now, Ohio State has a commitment of Mark Fletcher from Florida, a 4-star running back commit, and he's actually doing really well this past year in high school. Obviously, the biggest threat to Mark Fletcher has been in Miami. There's been some flirtations there, but I think, and I guess that's a reason why, beyond the fact that Justice is a really good player, that's also why you try to keep Justin in the mix and Justice. I'm sorry, in the mix, is because you never know what will happen. especially with Miami. But you have to like the way Ohio State and Miami are trending for Mark Fletcher right now because I mean, there's a couple of things. Obviously, like I said before, comfort level and NIL play a huge role in today's recruiting. But there's also got to come a point where uh, things even out a little bit, right? Where common sense and um, that traditional viewpoint of who can get me to the next level, who can develop me the best, that those things got to start playing a role when things even out in the college football world about NIL funding for these players, because obviously Ohio State can match people for NIL. Miami's been throwing out big money for players and everything like that. They're trying to rebuild their program. I get that, and they're doing it legally and they're doing it the way they're supposed to be doing, as opposed to under the table as in the years past. But um, you know, you have to like the way things are trending for Ohio State in this one. And when you go back to the traditional role as to why kids went to schools, is that look at Ohio State. Their rushing attack is thriving again with Justin Fry as the new offensive coordinator. It looks smoother. It looks better. It looks like whoever we put back there can gain yards. Then you got the aspect of Dallin Hayden, a true freshman, actually getting a lot of playing time at Ohio State because of the fact we're blowing people out early in the year, and he's getting a lot of opportunity to shine even in his freshman year. You look at probably Maya Williams probably going to be gone after this year, probably NFL bound. Trevion Henderson's got one more year, and then it's basically Fletcher can come in as with Henderson being the senior, or being the not senior, but being the senior laden guy, or with a guy with seniority. With Dallin Hayden backing him up, and then Fletcher could easily be the third string there and get some time, get some run. Of course, we got Evan Pryor still in the mix. I'm not going to forget about him. Who knows what the injury? But again, Ohio State and has a great recruiter also in Tony Alford. Miami's 2-3 right now. They're struggling. I gotta like the way Ohio things are trending with Ohio State right now. But again, you keep recruiting guys like Justice Haynes because you just don't know what could happen there. You just don't know. And you got to do that until signing day to make sure you are still in the game for that. And then, of course, last but not least, is safety, do everything defensive back Caleb Downs. If you listen to reports, if you read reports of Ohio State beat writers, it seems like this would be the best chance to flip somebody, if anybody, uh, that we're still recruiting. Ohio State right now has 6 DBs committed. I mean, think about that. That's a huge DB class, and it shows you what a priority they're placing on replenishing that DB room. And there's about to be some, X. There's going to be not going to be too. There's going to be some X's here after this year that we're going to have to replace. But other than the fact he's a great player. That goes without saying. Caleb Downs is a great player. That's why you keep recruiting him. Noel's system's very safety heavy. And, this guy's a guy who can play the single high. He can come down in the box. Or he can even play the slot a little bit in that cover safety position. And if there's anyone we have a chance to flip, apparently reports are suggesting that it's Caleb Downs. So it's one to watch as Ohio State's defense continues to show improvement this year and continues to actually, show the fact that we're going to be a top 10, top 20 defense. We are no longer the Kerry Combs, Matt Barnes defense, to where it's like, would you really? I mean, because there was a point really when it was just obvious, like Bama or Ohio State on defense. Of course, it's Nick Saban and Bama, and that might still be obvious to people, but it's becoming less obvious, I think, internally to these defensive players as they see our defense actually start to thrive and look good and play well. So definitely keep an eye on that one. I'm hoping. I'm not going to make any predictions, but I'm kind of hoping anyway. But as I told you before, you guys, we're in the bye week, right? So I want to finish on this. We talked a little bit of recruiting on Ohio State again. Again, comment yes or no whether or not you want to see us talk more about recruiting. Little tidbits here and there. If we can bring them to you. But the biggest game of the Big Ten this week, obviously, is going to be number 10 Penn State at number 5, the team up north, Michigan. I want to know, you guys comment, what do you think the final score is going to be of that game? I'm going to go ahead and give a final score. I actually think I hate to say this. I think Michigan actually has a statement game, and they win this one kind of going away. I do think it'll be somewhere in the realm of like 34-20, somewhere around there. I mean, going away is 14. I guess 14 points isn't going away, Corey. I mean, it kind of isn't a big game like this by 2 touchdowns. That's a big win. It's going to be in Ann Arbor. I think I'd be very shocked to see Penn State make this a good game. I think Michigan's been struggling as of late. I know that, but I just think for whatever reason this becomes a runaway game for Michigan a little bit. So again, 14 points. You don't consider runaway, but to me, this is kind of a runaway game. So anyway, guys, give me a comment what you think the score will be. I appreciate you tuning in, guys. Trying to bring you some recruiting news or recruiting speculation anyway. And hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, goodbye, God bless, and go Bucks.